Hello again. Make sure that you have your notes out and a pencil. We are ready to learn about integers. So integers are the set of numbers that include all of the positive and negative whole numbers. Okay, so you guys are familiar with whole numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would just keep going. 0 is included as an integer, and then we also go into the negatives like -1, -2, -3, and the numbers will just keep going in that direction as well. Okay, so integers are this big set of numbers, including all positive and negative whole numbers. Positive numbers are those that are to the right of 0 on the number line, and negative numbers will be those numbers that are to the left of 0 on the number line. Okay, so as we look at our number line here, you see 0 right in the middle. He's got a pretty important job because he is separating the positive numbers from the negative numbers. Okay, 0 himself is not considered to be positive or negative. As you're moving to the right on the number line, no matter where you are, if you're moving to the right, your numbers are always getting bigger. As you move to the left on the number line, no matter where you are, the numbers will always get smaller. Negative numbers are usually written, well, always written, actually using that negative sign. So if I have like -4, -8, -532, we use that little negative sign. It's not really called a minus sign, it is a negative sign, okay? Positive numbers are typically written with no sign at all, but sometimes you might see a little positive sign in front of the number. It just means the same thing. Just making it very clear that it is positive. All right, let's move on to the next page. A lot of these things are review. You've probably heard them before. Just need to refresh our memories a little bit. Okay, so we are going to be graphing or plotting integers on the number line. That just means that we're finding their exact location. Okay, whenever we graph a number on the number line, that means we're going to draw a dot at that location. So if I want to graph 18 on the number line, I'm going to find where 18 is, okay, which would be right here. I'm going to make a dot there, okay? Oftentimes there might be like a letter, or you might just write the number, but 18 is already shown here. So we just want to make sure that whatever point we are graphing or plotting on the number line is very clear. Okay, so if you move down here, we want to graph these integers on our number line. So -9 would be found right here, and it has an A with it, so we could label that point A. 4 is right here to the right of 0, and that is point B. 0 is right here, and we're calling that point C. And then -2 is going to be 2 units to the left of 0, and we call him point D. All right, a couple more things. Integers are going to be whole numbers, so not any fractions or decimals. Integers are positive and negative whole numbers. So go ahead and circle the numbers that are integers out of this set of numbers shown below. All right, hopefully you agree with me. 3.9 is not an integer because there's a decimal. 5 1/2 has a fraction, and 14 49 has a decimal, so those are not integers. All right, guys, move on. One more thing we want to talk about. Sometimes number lines are also drawn vertically, like you can see over here. Many of you might have a thermometer at home, which is actually just a vertical number line, right? So if we have a number line, whether it's vertical or horizontal, we could graph -3 and +3. Go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so here's +3 and here is -3. Now these numbers are special because they're both the same distance away from 0, but they go in different directions. So we call these opposites. Opposites. Okay, numbers that are the same distance from 0 but in different directions on the number line. So just like opposites that you might think of with words, you know, one is 3 units above 0, the other point is 3 units below 0. If we had a horizontal number line, okay, positive 3 is 3 units to the right of 0. Negative 3 would be 3 units to the left of 0. So we're still using those opposite terms like up, down, left, or right, but now we're applying that to our numbers. Okay, so if I had 9, that would be 9 units above 0 or 9 units to the right. The opposite of that is going to be negative 9. Negative 5, the opposite would be positive 5. Negative 17, the opposite is positive 17. Positive 25, the opposite of that would be negative 25. And 0, well, 0 is its own opposite. All right, down here at the bottom, what is the opposite of the opposite of 4? Ooh, that sounds like a lot, right? So the opposite of 4 would be negative 4, and the opposite of negative 4 will be positive 4. So our answer is positive 4. What is the opposite of 47? So the opposite of 47 would be negative 47, and the opposite of negative 47 will be positive 47. Okay, so what do you notice here? When we find the opposite of the opposite, we're actually ending up with the same number that we started with. So the opposite of any number will just be that original number that we started with. Okay, take a look at part D here. So we would read this, the opposite of negative 4. Okay, sometimes our negative sign can be read the opposite of, okay, because if you think, if I would have this right here, I could read that negative 4, or we could say the opposite of 4, which is also negative 4. Okay, so in part D, we would read the opposite of negative 4, which is positive 4. Okay, in part E, we might say the opposite of 3, which is negative 3. In part F, that would be the opposite of negative 18, which is positive 18.